What's going on, Culture Junkie Nation? It's your boy Ken Shearer. We're back with another great episode of Culture Junkies Live, episode 216. Today we're going to kind of get a little bit serious, talk about kind of the groundswell of support for Black Lives Matter and for racial injustice stemming from the tragic death of George Floyd in Minneapolis a few weeks back. But that's not all we're going to talk about. We got a really great new segment called The Collector that we want to show you. We're also going to do like a quick little tech review. So to the right of me is the great Dada Kuji. Across from me is Mr. GQ, and from remote is Fallen Marvel. How you doing, fellas?
Doing pretty good. How about yourself?
Greetings and salutations, everyone. Hope everyone is having a fantabulous week.
GQ just saying, "Oh, just
what? My words cost money. What are you talking
about?" Words cost money. He just ain't gonna say nothing, man. Come on,
there we go.
Come on now. The Big Kahuna's in the chat over on Facebook. What's up, my fan? What's up, family?
Hey, good to see you.
Good to see you too, man. If there's someone that needs to be in this studio,
right,
is that guy.
You need to tell Amazon you're taking a night
break.
Off.
Yeah, take a break.
Right.
Yeah, he needs to be up in the chat with us. But anyway, a lot of stuff to get to. Let's not belabor the point. Let's run the gamut.
Royale with cheese.
Royale with cheese.
So what you got, Dido?
Well, searching on the interwebs not too long ago, I literally just found this story being reported by many places. This one specifically is a website called Nintendo Everything, that Alex Kidd in Miracle World is being remade, I guess you would say, for the Nintendo Switch. DX it's called. I saw a trailer on it. I'll put the link in the chat pretty soon, but it looks pretty good. It reminds me the remake of the Wonder Boy series that came out a few years ago, where the people who made Streets of Rage 4, that is, redid Wonder Boy, where they have fresh coat of paint on it, but you can flip back to the original mode if you want to. And it's supposedly going to have new stages and maybe new ways to defeat bosses, because if anybody remembers, back in the day, you just defeated the bosses using the jock and pawn or rock, paper, scissors. So we'll see. It looks pretty interesting. And me being a fan of platformers, I'm looking forward to playing it one day, maybe when it's cheap,
Sure. GQ, what you got?
Well, I saw an interesting tidbit concerning HBO Max. Apparently with the HBO Max, the hits keep coming. They're going to censor Looney Tunes cartoons. They're taking guns away from Yosemite Sam and Elmer Fudd. And apparently, they're going to give Elmer Fudd a scythe. So I'm like, how is that better?
I was just getting ready to say that.
Like his shotgun.
Right. The hell?
Right, because at least when he had the shotgun, it was always comical. It was
wait. Elmer Fudd's a hunter. What's the scythe got to do with?
Hey, he's hunting souls now. He's going out there taking everybody out. But it's like, where's the logic on that? It's like you go from a cartoon effect of a gun. It's like boom, smoke clears, Daffy's head is upside down, or his beak is shot over his face, or something crazy, to a scythe. It takes a crazier person to murder somebody with a scythe than it does to shoot them with a gun.
Yeah.
So it's like, what are you guys doing? So I don't know. Warner Brothers need to get their stuff together, because them cartoons have been around for decades, and all of us turned out okay.
Dude, like the funniest one was the whole rabbit season, duck season.
Exactly.
One. That shit was hilarious,
so
man.
Now how are you going to have that now? Rabbit season, duck season. You got a scythe in his hands.
Right.
Like that's not going to work, man.
Yeah, no, it's not going to work.
It's like like Hunter of Souls.
Passing a potato to Fallen Marvel. What you got, brother?
Well, just a little bit. Like very quick couple things just to carry over what you were saying. Apparently they were going to remove Gone with the Wind on HBO Max, but now they're going to put it back with a disclaimer. And oddly enough, supposedly it was sales apparently went up on Amazon because of that news, which is kind of funny.
So to get the unadulterated version, I bet you.
Right. So but other than that, apparently, and I don't think we covered this last week at all, but apparently Naughty Dog ran into some hot water last week over their trailer using supposedly a cover song of the song True Faith.
Oops.
So but it seemed like it was a cover of a cover, but those covers sound suspiciously alike down to the arrangement.
So you're saying what you're saying is that Naughty Dog got a DMCA takedown? Is that what they got? Is that what we talking about now?
Isn't Naughty Dog owned by Sony?
Yeah.
Yes.
I would think Sony Music's got a little bit of pull.
Right.
Just a small amount, somewhere.
Right.
Whatever.
Yeah. So it's it's something that made a headline or two
That's kind of
last
funny.
week, and it's just kind of
Yeah. So here's one that I got, right? So this whole thing with Batwoman and Ruby Rose, this shit just won't go away. First they were going to replace her, which is stupid in its own right. But now here they're just going to kill off Kate Kane as a character. They're just like, we're not going to give any possibility for any return to Kate Kane. Nah, we're just going to kill her. Okay. Like this whole situation with Batwoman, Ruby Rose quitting on them is just going from bad to worse. Like the show was already kind of on like nearly unwatchable status for me, but now it's just I don't even want to be bothered with it anymore. Just like for real, just get rid of it.
I never watched
it. It's just, dude.
I only saw.
I watched.
You only saw it in Crisis, right?
I watched 2 episodes. I watched the pilot, which was god awful,
mm-hmm.
and I probably watched maybe like an episode or 2 leading up to Crisis, but nothing made me want to stay and watch it.
I don't even know what channel it came on.
Really? Come on now.
All right, let's put it. I don't know what channel. I don't know what channel or time because it was just like whatever. What's up to John P over there in the YouTube chat, sir? How you doing?
Come on, same bat time, same bat channel on the on CW on Sundays.
Apparently they didn't let me know because I didn't watch it.
I don't even know what day the Flash comes on because I watch it on CW.
What day is?
You watch it? Oh, you watch it after the.
You watch it.
Yeah. I have no idea.
Or something like that.
Yeah. So anyway, let's run the gamut. If you guys got some other stuff that you want to talk about, please continue the conversation in the chat or bring it up in the Power Is Yours if there's anything that we missed. We're going to move on to a nice little sample of merchandise.
Sample the merchandise.
So check out this quick little video that we kind of want to review.
On D.
Hi, everybody. We're still playing. That right there was a little preview video of the GPD Win Max. As you see, it looks phenomenal. It's a little microcomputer similar to this one right here, except for this one right here does not have the joy pads on it, joysticks. And I don't know if this one can run Street Fighter V or not, but they are very small, very pretty handy. You just take them anywhere, compact form,
yeah.
And you can play darn near anything on them. It's something that I more than likely would get if I didn't have this little thing right here as a Nintendo Switch.
Would you really? Like, you got so many other gadgets. Would you really get that?
I did not is the key word. Have a Nintendo Switch. I got a Nintendo Switch because, it's a portable gaming system. That system looks friggin' amazing. But I don't to have them both because it is a Switch Plus. And when I say a Switch Plus, because it can do everything the Switch do.
I think, and we were talking to Big Preem about this earlier in the week. The attraction for me on something like that is the fact that it is a full-fledged, fully functional Windows 10 machine. So you could actually use it for productivity if you want. You could do Photoshop stuff on it. You could do Premiere stuff on it.
Tons of different
and
stuff.
the other thing is, it's got a Thunderbolt port, and you can actually hook it up to an external video card. So you could actually pump up its video card power, but like hooking it up to, like, let's say for example a 2080 Ti.
Yeah, because they have those external
Right. So it's
Connectors.
like,
Yeah,
dock
they do
rather.
have
So I mean,
stuff
that's
like that.
pretty cool. John P says, hell no, he doesn't trust the controller buttons wear and tear.
I mean, yeah, I get it,
Yeah,
but that's why you get one of those
You're gonna have
8-bit those,
wear
or
and
you
tear
can
anything.
Yeah.
like you can sync another Bluetooth controller to it, so it's not
Right.
like it's just like with any other PC, you know.
Well,
so,
even on top of that, though, Preem also said that there's another model that's coming up as well that has detachable controllers a la the Switch. So it's almost essentially your Switch on top of all of that.
That's
too.
what I said. It's a Switch that does everything because you can, because PCs you can emulate stuff on,
Right.
it. And I'm pretty sure that if
Right.
they haven't emulated the Switch on there already, they've already emulated the Wii U, they emulated the Wii, you know, PlayStation 3, PlayStation 2,
Yeah.
Xbox 360,
PS4
all of
is
that.
next.
Plus,
Yeah.
Plus,
All
it
that
has
stuff
access
is-
to Steam as
Yeah.
well. So I mean, that definitely makes it.
It's
huge
literally
contender.
killer than that. It's just this thing would go in the garbage. I
Yeah,
don't want
but,
this thing going in the garbage.
no,
I highly doubt that,
Quit
but
playing.
okay.
No, it wouldn't.
If I were to have something like that, like literally, would I ever touch
don't
this?
even, don't
Would I ever
even,
touch
don't
this
even
again?
try and say that. No,
I'm
you
just saying.
wouldn't. No,
Would I-
you
would I
wouldn't.
rub it
As,
No, you
as soon
wouldn't.
as the battery
Would I
wears
ever
down on
touch
that,
it?
you pick that Switch up again.
Exactly. Yeah, no, man. Don't even try
That
it.
thing is literally you have it and you don't need anything else.
No, that's fair, But I mean, it's and here's the thing: it's available right now on Indiegogo, I believe. $7.79, I think, is the
look at
is
that
the
price.
$7.79.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's reasonable because you got to figure it's it's basically like a high end gaming laptop, just not as big as a high end gaming laptop.
Yeah.
Right.
In that regard.
That's true. Then my follow up question was going to be exactly what is the storage space on this thing? What were the
It's got
specs?
it's got a 512 hard drive in it, 512 solid state.
Okay.
It's got I think it says actually more than 4 USB ports, which
so
that's
you
kind of
hook it up to an
overkill.
external if you want it.
Yeah. You definitely could.
Okay.
You've got, like I said, the Thunderbolt port on it. It's got a 16 gigs of RAM built in, DDR4, 3733.
Upgradable?
I don't know. That's the one thing I couldn't find. It might be, but who knows? Maybe with such a small form factor, I'm wondering.
Yeah, I'm
because
wondering that too.
you'd have to.
Yeah, it probably wouldn't be because
Yeah.
the thing is, if there's going to be any type of design, and if like for it, like with it being like anything remotely near a laptop, like it's probably going to be like a headache and a half to try to upgrade it
Oh yeah.
because like
yeah.
regular
Laptops
laptops
are
are a
hard.
pain in the
It's
ass.
a pain in the butt.
Hey, you
The
know
only
what?
thing that I've ever upgraded on a laptop has been the RAM because they've always made that fairly simple. But everything else on the laptop is like,
The-
you may as well
yeah.
just get another
Well,
The
Sounds
laptop.
last
like- well,
laptop I had,
Go-
the
I was
last
gonna-
laptop I had, like it was a pain in the ass to upgrade the RAM. Like I had to practically take the whole damn thing apart.
Wow.
You know that part is true. Even swapping out hard drives is kind of like you got to tear down the entire bottom and even to get at the hard drive
Yeah.
just to put it back. One of the things I was going to bring up is we know it could play Steam and all this other kind of stuff. One thing it probably would be perfect for right out of the box is Google Stadia, right? Google Stadia would be a good thing
Here's
for
the
it.
thing. I've only seen commercials for Stadia. Because remember when Stadia was about to drop, they
Oh,
was
yeah.
dropping commercials left, right,
Left
center.
to right, yeah.
Now I've only seen commercials like once every, let's say if I'm watching YouTube, I might see commercials once every like 40 or 50 videos. And
Yeah.
I'm like, that thing felt like a rock.
For real.
And I think it's just it was pie in the sky on that one, man. They acted like the infrastructure in the United States is going to be able to sustain that, and it can't.
right.
Maybe in Korea, maybe in some of the other places where the internet is king over there, but not here.
Right.
Like, you cannot be in the middle of Hackensack, New Jersey, trying to play Google Stadia. It's not going to work.
Definitely not right now. But according to what I've heard by our friend Kingpin, apparently, what's that dude's name? Is it Elon Musk is shooting up satellites to try to have high speed internet everywhere.
We'll see.
Yeah, it's coming.
Shall
The
see.
thing is going to come. It's like
It's not going to be free though.
Look, of course not. Internet's not
Oh,
free.
hell
now.
no.
In my honest opinion, it needs to be more like a utility where water bill, electric bill, what you use is what you pay, and everybody should have access to it.
Man, I don't know. Some people, porn torrents are going to be paying out
Well,
the
I
nose.
mean, but that's their ass.
I agree, but I mean, it's
Why would you do porn torrents? You got Pornhub, man.
hey, people are
You
crazy.
don't have to
man.
download that stuff no more.
you're right about that.
People are
You're
crazy.
right about that.
But no, back to the GPD Win Max. I actually do like it. I think my only, and even the one that Dido held up the Pocket too. The only drawback to I think the Max is the fact that the joysticks, since they're built in, add extra girth to it, so to speak. I mean, it's still small. I mean, it's an 8-inch screen. I think the resolution was like 1280. I
Yeah,
believe.
it's low res more
Yeah.
or less,
But
doable.
yeah, exactly. I mean, especially when it's that small, it's gonna excuse me, look super clear anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But I think just the form factor is probably the best part about that. So who knows?
Okay. When is this supposed to come out?
Indiegogo, I think the drive ends soon, like this month, and it comes out next month.
Wow.
That's pretty
So
fast.
it's fairly so it's hitting the market
Well,
pretty
they,
soon. Like
dude,
just in time for
right. They
just in
hit
time for gaming season.
they
more or
hit
less, like that's-
9,000% over their goal. 9,000% over. So like they're good.
Right.
They got way more because I think their initial goal was like 30,000 or 40,000 or something. They got like over 2 million, something crazy.
So how many, like, how much is the run? Like, how many are being manufactured?
Oh, who knows? Because I think the whole idea was to do the the funding and then start manufacturing them. So I think like just the initial backers, they obviously get theirs early. Then they're going to actually start put them into production. You can just buy them, but of course when you buy them, they're going to be more expensive because you didn't initially back it. So
Well, hell, at least it's not like what's his name? Like Star. What was it Star?
talking about that online game.
Yeah,
Oh,
dude, the shit that's been funded for like $400 million and the shit still ain't been released. It's
right.
crazy.
All right, John
man.
P's question. He says, "Do you know what the GPD is considered as? A laptop, netbook, mini PC?
Mini PC.
It's a mini PC.
Only mini PC.
Yeah, it fits the mini PC for sure because it comes with Windows 10 already is installed,
Okay.
and like I
Nice.
said, everything else it runs Steam. It runs all the emulators and whatnot. So
See, Windows 10 on a 512 solid state hard drive, that's already taken up a good 100 right there.
Unless they learn how to optimize it somehow.
Somehow, some way.
who knows? I mean, ideally, like okay, for example, what I would use this for, obviously some gaming, definitely.
Sure.
It's got built-in controls.
Right.
But my next thing would be probably like throw Photoshop on there, do some simple, quick edits or stuff. Because it can run Premiere, but here's the thing about Premiere. If you are sticking the operating system, all of your footage, all your effects, whatever, on the same hard drive, that taxes the system. And that's where 16 gigs of RAM ain't going to do the job because you're going to have whatever footage you're trying to run, even if you run it with proxy style, where like you tell it, okay, it's a 4K file, but I'm telling you that to, run it back as a 720. You can do that and then relink all your footage, but even still, that's going to bog the system down. You'd have to run off of like, let's say like a USB-C connected, like a T5 drive or something. It's just something super fast that you could just edit off of, but not the actual internal drive. So there's ways to do it, but who knows?
Yeah.
because like as is, like the way it is, it does look like it may like bottleneck some of the performance stuff with that because it has to compensate for that. So it's like GQ said, you could probably pump it up, but at the same time, it's like you might have to spend a little extra money and time trying to get.
Oh
that
yeah, without a
set
doubt.
up.
Good guy, Gypsy X. Welcome to the party. No, there's nothing wrong with being late, man.
Right.
As long as you're
better
here.
late than never.
As long as you're here.
Yeah, man.
And
You know what'd be even better? if
Special
you bring
shout out.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. No, just saying. Just special shout out to all my folks over there, EJO being watching. So appreciate you.
Appreciate
Yeah,
y'all.
appreciate y'all. Yeah, absolutely. More people rocking with us, the better. So we only got a couple more minutes. Actually, we can probably end this early. I think we had a really good talk about it.
Heck yeah. Check it out.
so-
It's Indiegogo. Just look up for GPD WinMax.
Do we have the link? Do we want to put the link in the chat?
I don't have the link directly, but hey, we gave them enough free publicity on this. people can do a Google search. They'll be all right.
Oh wow. Oh, okay. So I hope you guys will go and check that out if you're interested in mini PCs. It sounds like it's going to be pretty cool. And continue the conversation in the chat, and we talk about it later in The Power Is Yours. But for right now, we're going to move on.
I present to you the Collector.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm GQ. Welcome to The Collector. So we're going to be taking a closer look at some of the stuff in my collection, since you guys have probably seen it on the unboxing videos, but we're going to take a closer look at something particular. So I decided to pull the Marvel Studios First 10 Years Jewelry Set. Yes, that's what they called it, the First 10 Years Jewelry Set. Pulled that off the shelf. We're going to take a closer look so you guys can see what this thing looks like. So, opening this up, first thing you see is you got Certificate of Authenticity. One thing in the collectibles game, you want something numbered if you can get it. Sometimes there's things that are just rare and they're not numbered, and that's okay. But when you have a certificate of authenticity and you also have a number, this one's actually 522 out of 7,200 available. This thing actually was released in 2018, 10-year anniversary of the MCU, or Marvel Cinematic Universe, and it was exclusive to GameStop, believe it or not. It's actually something that GameStop, I guess, worked with Marvel to get, and it comes with, and all of these things are wearable. I mean, I guess that's part of why they call it the jewelry collection. Comes with the Eye of Agamotto from Doctor Strange, also a full-size one-to-one replica of the sling ring that they wear in the movie. You got Spider-Man's web shooters. Basically, you briefly see these in Avengers Infinity War. A little bit slightly different design, of course, but it's more like the Iron Spider style one that he had in the movie. Of course, you have Black Panther's necklace, which of course in the movie Black Panther hides its suit using nanotech. You got the Kimoyo beads, very, very detailed there. And then of course you have Stark's nanomachine housing, which is actually very cool. So they took a lot of the time to put some good detail on these pieces here. As you can see, I'm wearing gloves. Now, a lot of people say, okay, why do you wear gloves in all of your videos? There's a reason for that. It's like you don't want your collectibles to get essentially dingy or dirty from the oils that are in your hands. It might not, your hands might be clean, but your hands oils, the oils that are in your hands can damage collectibles, so you definitely don't want that to happen. So that's part of the reason that I wear the gloves. Plus, hey, I like keeping my stuff clean. I like it to look good. All right, everybody, that was the Marvel First 10 Years Jewelry Set. If you got any questions, make sure you hang around till the end of the show for the Power is Yours segment. That way you can throw your questions in there. If you got any specific things you want to know, we can talk about it right here live on the show. So I'm going to turn it back over to the studio. You guys have a great one. I'm the Collector GQ. Guys, take it away.
Culture Junkies!
Well, that was a very, very handsome, awesome person that turned that back over to
I mean, you just
me
ain't
over here in
modest
the
at
studio.
all.
Well, be modest if you look this good.
Wow, this guy.
Anyway,
Okay. Hey.
So yeah, that's our new segment, The Collector.
Yeah.
As you guys saw, that's the Marvel Studios 10-year anniversary jewelry set. I can't believe they called it a jewelry set, man.
Yeah, I mean, so how detailed was like a lot of that stuff? Like, okay,
It's
so
one-to-one.
Okay,
Like,
so it's one-to-one, but
yeah.
like the textures and all this other kind of stuff. Like, I'm sure it's costume jewelry, obviously.
Oh yeah,
right.
I mean,
so
but you got to also remember, even on set, most of that stuff is costume jewelry.
Right.
They clean up a lot of stuff in post. Even like, for example, the Eye of Agamotto, the actual set prop probably was metal, but obviously they have to CG it because he makes it open and close and all
Right.
that other sort of thing. So. At best, what you're getting is a replica of probably what they wore on set. So, like,
Right.
for example, the Eye of Agamotto, all of that stuff is metal. Like, all of it is actually, fairly heavy metal. Heavy metal, that's hilarious. But no, all of it is fairly, weighty metal. So they do a great job with those. And like I said, with it being one-to-one, it just works. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I appreciate that, John P. Letting people know how to collect with class. That's correct.
Speaking of which, everybody that's out there in the chat, after you watch the video, if you got any questions about the stuff that you saw in the video, go ahead, hit us, and we'll try and talk about it there. So one question I got for you, the question I got for you is like, okay, so if are these ones that you would wear? I mean, I know you're a collector and you probably would never wear them out, but like that Black Panther necklace, T'Challa's necklace for his suit, like, would that be something that you would be a nice little accessory? You think you could mix with like an outfit?
You could. Here's the thing about the Black Panther necklace. That I like the overall design of it, but it does. For example, the stuff that I wear, it wouldn't work. Like the Eye of Agamotto would be pushing it, but I could probably make that work. Stark's. I think Stark's are. Nano housing, like that would just be fun to have, just to wear it just on top of something normal, just to mess with people.
Right.
But I think what you run into with a lot of that is those types of things are great for cosplay, but for regular everyday wear, you'd have to be like a super duper fan, and just just go out and be like, hey, whatever. Like Kimoyo beads, though, I have a second set of Kimoyo beads that I've actually worn a few times to different stuff. So those are fine because that's just a regular, bracelet or whatever.
Does anybody else on the panel got comments? Mr. Robomurder says you need Stark's glasses.
I do not like those square style glasses, man. The Edith glasses do not look right on people.
No, they don't.
I think that was kind of the joke.
Like even when Tony was wearing it, I was like, "What the fuck is that? Like what is you trying to be? I know you're trying to be.
You guys may
War,
not
I
have
think,
realized
or
this,
whatever.
future billionaires, but the uglier your glasses are, the richer you are. I've seen people come and buy drugs from you with some ugly fucking glasses.
I completely
and
understand.
They
That's
were
funny.
getting
That's really funny.
They were getting nothing but brand name drugs, which 90-day supply will run you like $600-$700.
Yeah.
and they're buying
completely-
6 months at a time.
I completely understand that, but like
Ugly
I said,
glasses, rich people.
No, I know, like that's why Cartier glasses are still getting made. But I mean, like that's
Yeah.
I don't necessarily need glasses. That's why, like for me, it's just more of a
Right.
for fun.
So we only got a few more minutes left in this segment before we move on. If anybody wanted to like see anything in your collection that they want to pick out, how would you prefer them to reach out to us or to you?
Well, I mean,
Like,
if you, Jay, here's how I do it. The test would be like, hey, do you have such and such? And if I do, you'll see it. If I don't, I might get it. So you have to look at it that way.
that is very true.
Now, granted,
Yeah.
hey, y'all here, there is just a real sneak peek. There's a Pops one coming up, but that's about where that one's going to end because I don't really collect Pops like that.
Right.
Just let y'all know.
Like it have to be some kind of super special, very exclusive pop in order for you to get it.
I mean, I
Any
have a couple of, and I
Uh-huh.
didn't even put them in the video now that I think about it, but I have a couple that like I got from box sets of, like for example, the Batman Beyond one that came with the box set. So I don't
Yeah,
even
that's
think
what I got. I got that one too.
That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. So I don't even think you can buy that one
Yeah.
anywhere. Oh, I
Ooh,
appreciate
Mr.
that,
Rubberman.
Sharita.
Look at what. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
See, I appreciate that, Sharita.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. Do I have any Cyclops visors or mags help? No, I actually don't. Here's the thing.
That would be cool though.
It would be cool, but like, all right, when it comes to those types of collectibles, I have to like the subject matter they come from.
Oh my God. Here
No,
we
I'm
go.
dead serious because
Okay.
like for example, like okay, the Cerebro helmet from X-Men, it looks cool.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But was that movie really worth me spending like $600 for something from that movie? Probably not. You know what I'm saying? It has to, like, okay, Magneto's helmet would be great.
But yeah, which one though? Which one would you get? The one from
here's
First
thing.
Class? The one from
No, see, the one from
Apocalypse?
I understand the one from End of First Class looked more comic accurate.
It did.
But it still looked goofy though.
It did.
And that's the
The one
thing.
from Apocalypse though was dope.
Yeah, the one from X-Men Apocalypse was good, but it's like it's very hard for me to justify like movie props from movies that I didn't necessarily like. Or
fair.
not so much didn't like, because like
fair.
X-Men first, like those were good.
Yeah.
But they're not like, oh man, that was the best movie I've seen like, this year. No, they're not on that level. So I don't need some huge prop from those particular movies. Now, if they had a really good 6 scale, somebody from that movie, I'd probably get it.
Okay.
That sort of thing.
All right. Yeah, but those are some good ideas. I think you should probably add some of those to your collection. Anyway.
We'll see.
Yeah, all right. Anyway, guys, that was the collector segment. Obviously, you can hit us up on culturejunkies.net or on our social media on Facebook or on YouTube and leave a hint on GQ's weekly unboxing videos, which come out on Friday, and let them know what you want to
Because
collect next.
I just bought a whole bunch of new stuff to unbox.
Yeah, you
so
did.
It's
So
coming.
yeah, it is coming. It is coming. Anyway, guys, we're gonna move on to the next segment.
The main event.
Okay. Sorry about that. The small technical difficulties. We'll make sure we get that worked out next time. But anyway, let me start over again. So obviously, the murder of George Floyd a few weeks back has really shaken the world to its core and has brought about a lot of seismic changes. Like the Black Lives Matter movement has never been as globally supported before as it has been now. I mean, you've got the NFL commissioner out there giving messages. You've got NASCAR banning the Confederate flag from its events, which was an almost unthinkable thing. You know, like even yesterday, I thought I was like, nah, man, it'd be nice, but no way NASCAR would do that. But in respect to Black Lives Matter, you know, how does this movement kind of affect us as Black nerds and what we've seen, the kind of discrimination that we face? Because there have been times where we, you know, some members of the Black community that just love genre entertainment, you know, might be dressed up in cosplay and get accosted by police and, you know, taken down violently because we have weapons in our hands. So I just kind of wanted to really, you know, we kind of just wanted to talk about that, how the Black Lives Matter movement relates to us as Black nerds, and even all the rest of you out there, you know, that are people of color, and, you know, what does it mean to you guys? Let's have a serious talk about it. Like, what did you think when the whole George Floyd thing happened, GQ? I mean, you're a man of few words of this kind of nature. So what went through your head when that whole thing went down?
I mean, I mentioned it a little bit last week when we talked about I think during Run the Gamut.
Yeah.
It's cowardly for, you know, let's say for example, I don't know how tall Mr. Floyd was, but I mean he's a bigger dude. I think he worked as a bouncer at a club.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't take, once somebody's handcuffed, it don't take for people to hold nobody down, man.
Right.
Like,
Not for 8-9 minutes or some shit.
And not only that, it's like for you to put your knee on his neck for that long.
Yeah, man.
Clearly, like, just to put it in perspective for people, like lay down on the ground, put your hands behind your back and put them as close together as you can as if you were handcuffed.
Mm-hmm.
Put your legs down and then try to breathe.
Mm-hmm.
Now imagine somebody putting all their weight on the back of you while you're trying to do that. You can't do it. Your body is not built or designed to do that. So for him to sit there and then be casual about it, hands in his pockets or whatever the hell he was doing, and his boys is holding the other dude's legs down, it's like, no, y'all killed this man.
Right.
Y'all weren't trying to restrain him.
No,
y'all
you tried to murder
basically,
him.
y'all killed him. So for that, you know, and again, it what was that?
Like Mr. Rittermurder said, like on the hot ass asphalt too. You know,
Right,
the streets hot as hell.
Right.
You
So
know?
it's like either way it goes, like that was just dumb all the way around for them. So they better, you know, get the book thrown at them, throw them under the jail, whatever you got to do. But for it to take this long to get to this point for people to start waking up and noticing,
Right.
is, to me, that's kind of pathetic. Because it's not as if this is the first time this has happened. You had Breonna Taylor. You've had, you know, and this
Tamir
is
Rice.
right.
Just
Trayvon
recently.
Martin.
right. And then
you know.
cell phones, of course, cell phone video and everything has definitely helped.
Yeah.
But this ain't nothing new.
Well,
It's just people are noticing now because you got videos showing.
Exactly.
You know,
That's
around the
exactly
world.
like
Going
Will
back
said.
to Rodney
Yeah.
King,
Yeah.
when they just happen to see somebody, it's like they're clearly wrong. How in the heck do you get off?
Well, see,
being wrong?
here's the thing. You know, white people in this country have existed so long that, you know, in a bubble of cognitive dissonance where they can casually ignore a lot of things because in their heads they try and reason to say, oh, well, they're police. I can't believe that they would ever actually do anything wrong. The person that they're accosting had to have done something wrong to deserve this treatment. So I'm going to give the cop the benefit of the doubt.
But here's where there's a disconnect there, because it's like, okay, I get it if you think that, okay, just obey the law or just cooperate or whatever. But it's like, let's be real. He was accused of passing a fake $20 bill trying to buy something.
Yeah, that is not a murder
that don't
rule
warrant
offense.
no death sentence.
No.
And then this is what really made me extra mad on top of it. You had, what's her name, Candace Owens, come out like about a week later.
Yeah.
And then it's like, you talking about, oh, well, the cop was wrong, but Mr. Floyd was no saint. It's like, hold on. What the hell does that have to do with
Has nothing to do
anything?
with
anything at all.
It's like I don't care if this man had just finished smoking crack or whatever, and him going to the store and passing off a fake $20 bill, maybe he knew it, maybe he didn't, who
Right.
knows, whatever, don't warrant no death sentence.
Right.
So it's like, I don't.
It's a counterfeit bill.
Right. And it's like trying to bring up the past is some garbage, man. Trying to bring up the past is some straight garbage.
It is. And that's what a lot of
Most
people like them do.
definitely.
Go ahead, Fallon.
Fallon.
No, it's just to continue talking about that. And one of the reasons why it's, for lack of a better term, it's just distasteful as hell. And it's just the fact that the worst part of it is that she continues passing off a false narrative concerning these things. The first thing that she was already wrong about, number one, was saying how you're not looking at him like you're not supporting him because he is supposedly a martyr or whatever the case may be, First of all, no one has ever said he was a hero or a martyr. No one has ever said that. No one has even said that about like all the other people who've died unjustly, whatever. What you completely miss is the fact that these events are catalysts to an ongoing issue. That's what we're trying to get at. And the thing is that people think she's this educated person or whatever, but you can have all the education in the world, still be ignorant. And the thing is, all she's doing is pandering to a base. That's all she's doing. There's no other motivation other than the fact that she's pandering to a base, and that is probably the most prejudiced and anti-black base you could possibly get. And it's honestly really disgusting. The thing is that that's the only way you could really put it. It's just like, and what makes it worse is the people who listen and think it's like, oh, well, she's black, she must know what she's talking about.
Well, see that, and you bring up a very great point, because that, you know, it's people like Candace Owens that allow these people that I talked about that live in that cognitive dissonance to continue to live in that bubble, because they say, well, she's black and she's saying the same things that I feel.
Right.
You know, so it justifies the way that I feel about that. You know, and Mr. Rigor Mortis brought up something. He says in the Army, he met a lot of people that a lot of white people from places that had zero black population. And he said it was disturbing to hear what their ideas of us were, because they were getting them from popular media. It's very stereotypical media, I might add. And they were getting the wrong idea about what the black experience is. And that's how they frame their ideas of what it means to be black and who we are, you know, instead of actually getting to know real physical people, not fiction that gets put out there. You know?
What you think, Dodo?
Well, you know, you guys said a whole lot, basically. A lot of stuff that bothers me a whole bunch about it is just like, for the life of me, I can't understand why anybody shouldn't deserve justice when somebody is killed, regardless. If I go out there and kill somebody and they arrest me, they're going to try me and try to prove that what I did is what I did. And if I have video evidence, it's usually an open and shut case. So for the life of me, I can't understand why it's so hard for some people to get it through their heads that, first off, there is no races in this world. There's one race, and that's a human race. The only reason why we look different is because of the areas of which on this planet we've come from, and the adaptations that some people have taken because of their climate or their food or what have you. Or
other mixtures.
Or of all that stuff. And it just seeing this stuff, and it sucks that a guy had to die for people to actually open up their eyes. And it sucks that it's taken that long.
Right.
Because there are many who have gone through the exact same thing that didn't get any justice. That makes no sense to me. But then you got people in populations where there are very little, if not any black people, not natively black people.
Right.
Like you're seeing people protesting in Korea. You're seeing people protesting in places in Europe. You got the Amish coming out.
Right.
You got all this stuff happening. Like, you know what? They obviously were saying something. It's about time to listen. In my honest opinion, they should have been listening a long time ago.
Absolutely.
Like, hey, this is not something that you do to another human being. As a human being, everybody gets the same rights. If justice is supposed to be blind, then you shouldn't be going around picking and choosing how you're going to do something. If somebody does something wrong, regardless if they're supposed to uphold the law, then they're supposed to uphold the law. If they broke the law, and that's one of the things that bothers me. We're driving a car, and mind you, it's a minor driving infraction, but I can't stand when cops do illegal things while driving.
Oh yeah,
that
legal U-turn or running the red light.
Because like if I did it, I'm getting a ticket. But if you do it, oh well, why are you doing it? You're not doing anything to uphold the law in that aspect. So why aren't you following?
You know, let me say this to your point. You know, it makes me wonder, right? It makes me wonder if, because I think we're getting so much support because of the video. And Sharita, you know, Jackson had mentioned in the video in the chat earlier. She said, you know, she loves the protest, but she cried watching the video.
I didn't want to watch the video.
I can't watch that video. I cannot do it.
I'm in the same boat. Like, I have not watched that video in its entirety. I don't plan to, because up to this point, I've already seen enough.
What's up, YL? I want to say what's up to YL Garby in the in the
what's
chat.
up, brother?
But to bring it back to what I was going to bring up, like, could you imagine? It's because it was 8 minutes and 39 seconds, because it was that long. I think that's what's making the impact so hard. If this was a video, where he had his knee on his neck for maybe 1 minute, might not get the same reaction.
I think, like you said, the video is definitely the big impact of it. Because realistically, in that position, it don't take that long to kill somebody, and I think that's what the issue was. I think he actually was already dead for let's say for 8 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Within about 5 minutes, he probably was going.
Dead.
It was pretty much just getting to
Right.
that point, and he was still sitting there.
Right.
That's where I think the true outrage comes from for a lot of people. It's like you just being an asshole,
Right.
basically.
Hands in his pockets, the look on his face that he had, like
it was just like disregard, like whatever.
Right.
You know?
I don't even value you as a human being.
And I think that that is what's got so many people up in arms and outraged. Now, to touch on what you opened up with, though, as far as like Roger Goodell and NASCAR and all that, a lot of these companies are saving face to an extent because, like, for the NFL, let's bring it to the NFL for a second. Kaepernick was peacefully protesting the police brutality just by taking a knee or whatever. And now here's the thing: you got 45 and various people trying to say, "Oh, he's disrespecting the national anthem and the flag." It's like, nah. An ex-soldier told him, "Hey, this would be a more respectful way for you to do your protest. Don't just sit down, get up, take a knee." That's all I need to hear. If a soldier who will give his life to defend that flag in his country says, "No, this is how I would prefer you do that," that's the military stamp of approval right there. I'm good. That's all I needed to hear. It's like, okay, what Kaepernick's doing it the right way. So for Goodell and all of them to just pile on and blacklist Kaepernick from being a quarterback.
That shit was terrible.
Yeah, it's like, dude, whatever y'all are trying to do now is like, yeah, it's great. Oh, hold on. Yeah, see, Rick and Morty, see, there you go, veteran approved. See, that's all I need to know.
Right.
So it's like for them to try to do the 180 now, it's like, okay, let's see how sincere you are within the coming weeks. Because it's easy to jump on that bandwagon and say, hey, blah blah blah, I agree and this and that. I want to see how long that lasts.
Right. And you bring up here's another aside to that, right? So we've seen widespread acceptance. We've seen widespread outpouring of support from companies that you wouldn't necessarily expect to see this from. Call of Duty, the Activision basically put on hold their season 4 for Warzone and for Modern Warfare. They did that last week. PlayStation, which was supposed to have their PS5 reveal on Thursday, which has been moved to tomorrow. They postponed. They said this is not the time to talk about it. You had 2K basically giving away free DLC. I can't breathe shirts for every character that can have for free and wearing the game. You had Call of Duty. They who had it? It was Call of Duty had it before in pre-screens. Black Lives Matter, like getting people upset. In the gaming world, this is how it relates to Blerds and stuff like that. We're seeing comic companies, we're seeing movie companies, we're seeing game companies, we're seeing anime companies, all across the world, do all this great stuff. And it's amazing. Like what Crunchyroll even wrote was just amazing what they wrote. Right. And you wouldn't expect that from them because that's Japanese animation. That has nothing to do with African Americans and Black Lives Matter, but they went out of their way to say that. So is that pandering? Yes, sure. It's pandering. It's the right thing to do. Yes, it is. Let's see how sincere that support is after these first couple of weeks. I want to see real change because this is a chance for it to be different, to really make a change. This could be a tipping point in history. This is how big it's starting to feel to me. Like this isn't like when Tamir Rice got killed or when Trayvon Martin got killed and people were kind of upset. No, this is universal. You know.
Yeah, worldwide is protesters all over the world.
I think it's because people can finally start to see the pattern. Versus
and the John Boyega thing. The John Boyega video was unbelievable.
You know what?
Oh, that was unbelievable.
Oh yeah, John. I've always enjoyed John's work and always enjoyed him as a person, but that solidified him going forward in anything.
I'll support him forever.
Right. And it's like, cause that that in a lot of ways touched my soul just listening to him.
Mm-hmm.
Listening to him speak on that or whatever, because he's like, the amount of pride he's always showed for himself and his people, whatever. It's like,
Yeah.
dude, you can't deny that. So it's like to kind of see that bleed over. It's just like, look, at the end of the day, it's like, it don't matter where you at. The thing is, like, black is black regardless.
Exactly.
And that's a clear example of it, you know,
Exactly.
because I mean, and the thing is, we've had talks about that too with you know, black people from abroad and stuff or whatever, like a few years back, you know, and stuff where, you know, like the Black British invasion, blah blah blah, you know, with Idris and you know, a couple other people, whatever the case may be. But it's like, okay, yes, American blacks have our story to tell, whatever. Like, the thing is, there's also still like a lot of blacks like across the pond that also have their stories too. So
yes, they do.
We can't diminish other people's experience because we are familiar with ours. It's like, if they like, look, hey, if they come over here and do a good acting job, it's like, hey, who am I to criticize? It's like, hey, it's like Daniel Kaluuya, like, you know, whatever, do his thing and get out, whatever. It's like, so like, the dude did a good job. Like, let that man get his paper, you know. So it's like again, man, it's like, you got to understand, like, look, folks have different experiences. It's not always going to be the same, because, like, again, and this is, and I'm just saying, it's like, yes, black people are not a monolith. We're not all expected to think the same way. So let's get that out the way. That's, no one on the panel was thinking that.
Right.
But at the same time, common sense, like seeing the whole picture, it's like, that's what it's all about at the end of the day. The thing is that if we have each other's back, understand each other's experiences, then a lot of things get changed. Like, because the whole point of it is understanding a different people's experiences. If you're doing this stuff for, you know, just clout or pandering, or just, you know, pandering to a base and stuff like that, like a Candace Owens or whoever the case may be, the thing is, like, you're not getting the full picture of that, because like, I think comedian Ryan Davis, like, he addressed that situation beautifully, I think, or whatever, because this is like someone who probably got scorned by her peers that looked like her, and probably went on somewhere where, like, it was more of a white population and she was more accepted, and just, you know, whatever hurt that she had or whatever, she basically turned that into being anti-black or whatever.
Yeah, she's got a lot of self-hate going on. At least that's what she projects. But, you know, I'm not trying to.
She's definitely doing it for the paper, though.
She's definitely doing it for the paper. Absolutely. But I kind of want to turn it over to, you know, the nation, and let them have their voices be heard in the Power Is Yours segment. You know, and to ask them also this question, an excellent question that was also asked in the chat. What do you as pop culture junkies, as junkies of genre culture, what is this whole Black Lives Matter and this outpouring of support that you've seen from, you know, various companies, media companies, game companies, sports companies, beverage companies, whatever? How has it affected you, and what would you like to see moving forward? So the power is yours, everyone.
The power is yours.
All right, Junkie Nation, let's hear it. What do you got to say about? So Tommy Styles, actually, our boy Tom, living over in Japan, he said he emailed NHK to teach them our side of the story over here, and he hopes that they email him back. I think that's incredibly awesome. And like Hikaru Utada, actually a very famous Japanese pop singer, actually started to talk about how racism has, you know, how it relates to Black people in America, and her experiences, what she's seen. And even though Japan as a nation is somewhat pure from the standpoint that they have very little foreigners that live in their country. I think I don't even know what the absolute percentage of foreigners that live in their country or non-Japanese people that live there. It's very small. Black people are even smaller part of that, but they have no clue of what racism is or what it looks like. They have prejudices, sure, but they don't know what it looks like to be racist, but they kind of can't help it. But but what she said was starting to spark a little bit of conversation over there. And that's why, it goes back to what I said about how I feel like this time it might really be different this time.
Yeah, I think I honestly really feel, first of all, that actually touched a special place in my heart because I've been a fan of Utada for quite some time.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that she's kind of getting out in front and starting that conversation over there and stuff, that warms my heart because,
Absolutely.
I've also researched stories about like how, other like Japanese nationals, non-Japanese people that live over there,
Mm-hmm.
how some of the treatment they've getting or whatever, like it's nowhere near as bad as over here, but it's like, again, a lot of that comes from their perception from popular media from the West. And it's like they kind of take that at face value, not knowing that, okay, we need to have a bit more of a conversation because like this isn't really going, it's not good for anybody. So
No.
seeing that and really just seeing that spearheaded, and it's like I think like between that and of course I believe there was also talks about like K-pop fans like starting to raise
I was
their
just going to bring
voices
that
and
up.
other
Well, not just
like
K-pop
various
fans, but even K-pop stars.
K-pop groups.
Yeah.
Because I think what is it? I think it was what's one of like the real popular groups over there?
I forget.
BTS? Is it BTS?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like they're
They gave
up
money
and stuff or
They
whatever.
gave like
So
$100,000 or something like that. I thought. Yeah, BTS.
Yeah, and it's
Ace Arcade,
like,
say they gave like $100,000. I was not expecting this kind of love from Korea. I really was not.
Yeah, and on that one
Right.
day where everybody was
well,
doing
Korea
the
loves
black
us,
squares,
so yeah.
Well, let's be careful now. I don't know how much they really do love us, but I'm just saying.
on that day when they were doing
as loves us as any other like non-black country does. I'm just
Yeah.
saying, like
Yeah.
they adopt a lot of what we do.
They definitely did
They do.
that. But on the day where they were the blackout day, they a lot of fans, K-pop fans, were making sure that they took over the White Lives Matter hashtag.
Yeah,
so
that was dope.
You couldn't get the
That was
asshole
dope.
racist, trending. So yeah, that was kinda cool
that part
too.
was dope. Josh S, who I don't recognize in the chat, welcome to the show. If you're a first time viewer, we appreciate you. He says, "I trust that they won't have the cognitive dissonance and denial of racism problem like here in the U.S. I have faith in them getting it." And I believe he's talking about the Japanese people over in Japan.
I think that is what he's referring to, and,
Okay.
and I think what it is, it comes down to just I hate throwing it back as it's essentially like, okay, people have had white privilege and have lived with it, don't want to lose it, so to speak. I think with Japan, it's kind of like they're seeing things that, go beyond the stereotypical movie, version of black people that they're used to seeing. And they're seeing like, okay, here's how the plight of black people is over here in the States. And they're seeing it, firsthand. And it's like, okay, well, damn, that's messed up. And I think they get it based on that. Whereas, you've had people over here, people of a redder neck that don't really necessarily, they know it, but they don't want to admit
They
it.
don't
Or
care.
or they don't care. So I think you run into that. Mr. Rigor Mortis had brought up a little bit earlier about wants to see reform to police and defunding.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
that's another interesting conversation.
Yeah.
Because I think what you run into with the whole defund the police thing, I think you have to be careful with that because it's a double-edged sword. You do definitely want to get rid of the military style.
Yes.
Because it's like cops do not need, it's bulletproof vest fine, but you don't need a daggone AK. You don't need a damn tank. It's like there's a whole bunch of stuff that some police departments have that it's just like, okay,
It's unnecessary.
Right? Are y'all the military or are y'all the police? Which one is it?
Yeah.
So it's like
They can't be the military with 8 months of training,
Right.
Or is it 8 weeks?
it's something ridiculous.
Well, a lot of those cops, some of those cops are former military, but still, they don't need those things
But-
in the street.
But here's the thing: this is where you have that very dangerous line. There's nothing wrong because again, my dad was former
Right.
military, and then he became
Right.
a Wayne County sheriff.
Right.
So yes, he has military training, but there's a line that has to be drawn once you get into the policing because policing is not. The rules they're similar, but they're different. They're extremely different when it comes down to what you can do as a cop versus what you can do as a soldier. So for them to, and again, there's nothing wrong with being ex-military going into policing. They're very related, but the rules are different. But once you give somebody like, okay, an M4 to walk down the street as a cop, Well, damn, all that soldier training clicks right back in, and now you back on, you back on the streets of Baghdad walking around, even though you like walking down 8 Mile. You know what I'm saying? So it's like they don't need all of that military grade weaponry. It's unnecessary because it's like you guys aren't soldiers. You are serve and protect. That's what you do. You serve and protect. That's the mantra.
That brings up another conversation, a different conversation. I think. Do we think it's good for even ex soldiers to be part of the police force? Like, or should they?
No, the soldiers. Here's the thing. Here's the thing about soldiers, and I'm sure Mr. Rigor Mortis, being a veteran, would know this. Their training puts them on a different level of thinking, different way of thinking about situations, and that's good because you can be tactical about various things, and that's perfectly fine. You come into the academy, basically 40% already ready to go because you don't have to learn the shooting part. There's a lot of stuff you just don't have to learn because you've already got that training, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with having past training or previous experience. You just have to be trained to get around to the you can't go in and shoot somebody in the head because they're not an enemy combatant. They're a civilian that you have to police. You have to basically unlearn that part of it, so to speak. But realistically, ex-soldiers are perfect for law enforcement because there's a lot of the way you move, the way you think, the way you approach a situation is already kind of ingrained in you. But what I think the issue with police nowadays is the training part of it is where there's the disconnect. You have cops that are, and the thing is, I think they're trained properly. I think it's just that you have those, Billy badasses trying to go in there and rough up people and this and that. It's like, that's not what the badge is for.
Right.
The badge is making, you're a public servant. That's what you're supposed to be doing. You're supposed to go out and serve and protect. Yeah, there's going to be times and situations where, yes, you have to get rough with a suspect because they're rough. I completely understand that. But then once they're in cuffs, you're done. They're restrained. Put them in the car.
Right.
Get in the front seat. Drive to the station. That's it.
That's the end of it.
That's it.
That's it.
Tasing people that are just, asking questions, shooting people, that's stupid.
Have you seen the bullshit that has been going on in these protests? They're protesting against police brutality, and I saw one just the other day where somebody got shot with a rubber bullet or something, and he was down, and the police told them to pick him up and bring him over here so we can people are in this video of this, picking this guy up, 4 people, and as they're getting closer, police start shooting them. And they're like, what the heck is going on here?
Right.
Spraying kids in the face with friggin' I just saw another picture where this woman was giving flowers to the and
they walked up and maced her?
They just arrested her.
Oh, they arrested her.
I'm just like,
here's what I saw, right? Here's one that I saw. They were peaceably gathered. They were protesting against the guys. The cops were standing a good 10 feet away from them in a line. And they were just, shouting or whatever, kind of, peacefully chanting or whatever. The police walked over there physically and started spraying the shit out of them. I was like, wow.
All right, now, King to King brought it up. He said a lot of, it's not always MPs that go to cops. Sometimes it's infantry or scouts. They train way different. And a lot of vets join just to have the brotherhood and camaraderie they had in the service. That's 100%
I get
true.
You that. I can understand that.
Yeah, he's absolutely right about that. I think, and John P. just brought it up, accountability is what we need to have.
Yeah, exactly. That's held accountable.
Yeah, Tommy brought that up. He said, Tom brought that up. He said, I hope that they end police immunity nationwide so cops can be more accountable for their actions. That's absolutely right. That's what we need. Is stuff like that. It was on the tip of my tongue. I'll probably remember it at some point. I was going to bring it up. Maybe it was some other comments in the chat.
There's one thing I did want to say real quick.
Go ahead.
This is kind of even back to the original idea behind this whole topic. I think one thing that you do see, and just to bring it back to the nerds culture, I think nerd culture has been ahead of this for a long time. And it's what I mean by this. Yes, there's going to be nerds that do not like Dragon Ball, or they don't like, they don't like whatever. They don't like what's popular or whatever. Right. But it's not a hatred. It's just, dude, I'm tired of seeing that, or I don't like that particular, whatever. But you notice when you go to like an anime convention, or when you go to a video game convention, or you go to like a comic book convention, nerds are nerds, man. Like that. Now, granted, there's gonna be some people that they just don't like people of other colors. That's everywhere.
Because I was just gonna bring up, you know how black women cosplayers get treated, right?
I don't know.
That shit is terrible.
That's the sexist part of it. I'm talking about just the overall.
It's sexist and racist.
Well, no, sexist and racist. No, that's true. But what I'm saying is, in the sense of, nerd culture has been more inclusive, all encompassing, like longer than the country has been. It's like, because for example, now granted, what did it was the Anime North we went to, and we was like probably some of the only black people there.
Oh yeah,
but it didn't matter though.
It was Anime Central. It was Anime Central.
No,
right?
Anime Central was in Chicago, man.
Anime
North was in Toronto or something like.
Anime North
way
in
up in Toronto.
Okay.
We
This
were
was
some of the
many
only
years ago,
yeah, this was years ago. But we were some of the only black people there. But it wasn't an issue.
Right.
It was odd that it's
Right.
like, it's like, dude, like where the rest of black folks at?
Right.
But it was no like, it was complete acceptance because it's like, dude, these guys like anime, we like anime.
Bet.
Good.
And
That's
we
all.
talked
That's all it
about
was.
anime,
That's
and
all you
talked
need.
about
Yeah.
Video games.
Right. Right.
That's for the most part been my experiences when it came to nerd culture. It's like, I think I've told this story many times. Just growing up in Detroit and going to Detroit public schools, there was very difficult finding.
Tom says Anime
Yeah,
North.
that was a
That was a long time
ago.
ago.
It was just finding, first off, black people that liked the same stuff. It was very hard. So when
That's pretty much how you met us.
yeah,
Anyway.
it is exactly, and it was just like, okay, wow, that's kind of cool. But when we went to anime conventions, we hung out with white people, Asian people, black people, and never had.
Dude, we
any
threw like
issue.
the best
I've
parties, dude.
Never seen any issue whatsoever.
We
And
threw the best parties. We dominated the Power Stone tournament. I remember that.
well, I came in third.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I
Even though
remember
that was the first time I ever played Power Stone.
Yeah.
And there I lost, but if I know what I know now,
Got them fighting instincts, man.
yeah.
King to Kim says, but necessary for its rules of engagement, totally different training, sense of importance from military to law enforcement. It should be,
damn near identical.
yeah. But it's, and Gerald Boney brings up another good point. If a cop gets fired from his conduct, he or she should not be able to go to another city.
Absolutely.
It should literally
Like,
be the
you should
exact
be
same thing as
barred
if you were a
from
sex
law
offender.
Yeah,
enforcement.
it should be a scarlet letter.
Yeah, it should follow you.
Yeah, everywhere. Like, dude, like the guy that even got hired, Derek Chauvin got hired. He got fired from one place, and the only reason he got hired is because he lied on his application.
Did you not see that some city in Florida is offering jobs
Dude,
to those
I
cops
couldn't believe that.
pushed that old man down and
Yes.
see not his ears?
Oh,
They're
yeah,
offering
yeah.
these guys jobs.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Okay, now here's
Listen,
go
when
ahead, follow.
when I heard about that, dude, first thing I thought about was that Bugs Bunny cartoon when he just completely sawed Florida away from the rest of the United States. As soon as I heard that,
yeah.
I'm like, wow, y'all.
Yeah.
See, this is why I am never going to Florida for anything, not even for Disney World.
I'm not a
sorry.
big fan of Florida. I'm gonna tell you that.
Florida has certain things that I enjoy,
Yeah.
but now here's the thing on that, and this is what really gets on my nerves about that. It's like, I don't care what he said to them. I don't even really care. He put it. I think in the video it looked like he put his hand in front of the cop for like a half a second.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that you pushed a 75-year-old man,
Yeah.
and then everybody's trying to say, "Oh, he didn't get pushed that hard."
No.
All right, here's the thing. Here's what we're gonna do. Let me come up to you on the street, and you're walking backwards, and I'm just gonna push you. Let me see how far you go because you're already walking backwards. It don't matter. And again, he's 75. That dude was probably in his 30s tops. It don't matter. You pushed the dude when you could have literally just said, "Sir, could you please move," or whatever it was. He didn't really touch you or do nothing that was all that special that deserved any physical contact, but especially to push him. And then one thing is, in the video, the cop, like, he was walking like he was just gonna keep going. It's like, dude, this dude just busted his head on the concrete.
You had one cop try to stop and see, like, oh my gosh.
Like,
and he
what
was
are you
like,
doing?
No, just
Yeah,
gripped
no,
him.
get
I'm
off
like,
of him.
are you kidding me?
See, that's the other thing I hate about it. There's probably some really good cops out there that probably would stop, but because they fear reprisal from their brothers that are in the Fraternal Order of Police, that they don't even bother saying anything. They know it's wrong, but they would never break that blue line ever.
And,
You know,
and
it's
the
terrible.
ones that have lost their jobs.
Yes,
That's
they
like
did.
that's like being in a gang, dude.
I think,
Seriously.
but see, there's the issue. That's where that needs to be really, truly changed. And again, I get it. You've got internal affairs. Everybody hates internal affairs, as they say. You hate, you hate like, the quote unquote stories of like the good cop that like gets, basically blacklisted because he's the good cop in the middle of a bad department.
Yeah.
It's like, yes, I'm sure that happens. But at the same time, the whole point of the job is to protect and serve the people. So again, it's not the best job in the world. I have firsthand experience with my own dad, but some of the stories for stuff that he's dealt with.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what he signed up to do. So if you can't handle that part of it, find another job. So, and I think that's where the disconnect is for me. It's like, look, I understand that it's a thankless job a lot of times.
It is.
But damn it, that's what you went to the academy.
Right.
You signed your name on that. You
Right.
said that's what you wanted to do. If you can't accept the responsibilities and the grief and the hardship and all the stuff that comes with that, go do something else.
Mm-hmm.
Get your ass out of that department. If all the stress and all the tension and stuff gets you to that point where you can't control yourself, you don't need to be wearing the badge or carrying the gun.
Yeah.
Because and it straight out of what was that movie, Righteous Kill, with De Niro and Pacino? He said, look, some people respect the badge, everybody respects the gun. I think too many cops nowadays have that mentality of they respect the badge and the gun because it's like, no, dude, I respect how you conduct yourself.
Right.
If you can't conduct yourself and uphold the oath of that you take as a cop, get out of the business. Go flip burgers or do whatever the hell else you got to do to make money because you don't deserve that badge or gun. Period.
You're right, Han. There was a lot of protesters that did protect, certain individuals. I saw videos of a cop. One lone cop was being protected from other looters, and then there's apparently people who are not of the cause and going around starting fires, starting looting, starting spray paint and stuff to try to blame black people. And there's protesters out there seeing this and stopping them. So yeah, there was quite a few people out there doing stuff like that.
Here's my thing on the protesters. And again, I have zero problems with people doing the protest. That's exactly what you're supposed to do. It's your right as a citizen to do that. To the looters, F y'all, straight up, because y'all are messing up the whole. Y'all are basically torpedoing the goodwill and the good that's coming out of this, because you always find those news organizations that are going to jump on the negative. If all of y'all is out there doing positive, what negative can they jump on? And I think that defeats the some of the purpose of the protest. Now, like you said, you got some people that they just doing it just for the greed part of it, or like you said, to try to mess up the movement. But here's what I really want to see out of all these protests. I've seen for the last couple of weeks from all these different cities, at least a couple high millions of people. Y'all better be at the damn ballot box. November.
Man.
Yep, vote.
All of y'all same people out here protesting. I don't give a damn how long you got to wait in line. All y'all better be voting this damn November.
Yep.
Because if y'all want change, that's another way to get it going. So I want all the same high momentum. I want it to carry all the way through. Y'all ain't got to be out there marching every day, but damn it, y'all better remember, come November, I don't want to hear it was low turnout in the youth, low turnout in the black community. Y'all, F all that. Y'all better get it together.
Get out there and friggin' vote.
Yeah.
Because there ain't going to be no change with a certain person.
Oh, yeah.
You can't even call him a leader because he's not.
He's not.
No. Like at that point, it's like the thing is, at the end of the day, there has to be a lot of change from top to bottom, not just one branch of government.
Oh, without a doubt.
Or whatever. And it's like, because for one, we need to get people in there that's like us. That's number one. It's like we need to get people like that's more our age range, people that have an ear, has their hand on the pulse of the people, who really understand what people are going through, where they've whatever. And the thing is, the whole structure needs to change. The whole thing needs to do, because we've been trying to make the old ways work in a new age, and we've seen firsthand that shit doesn't work anymore. We need to change. Like we need a whole change in the government from top to bottom, and that includes the judicial system, the all the branch of government, law enforcement, all of that. Like we need just a total overhaul. That's why it's just kind of like, and it's a little hard to say, but the thing is that for the longest time, like if there was like any part of anarchy beginning or whatever, like I wouldn't have opposed it, because like when you do stuff that is not helping your people, and people are getting tired, people are broke, people are overworked, people are stressed out, people are desperate, people are anxious, you're going to have civil unrest. And if there was any proof of this year alone, it's like obviously the government has not been taking care of its people.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
Quick out of the chat before we wrap up the show. Handover makes said, do you think Biden was right about his non-black comment out of line? It was definitely out of line. I think the problem with Biden is he doesn't fully think before he speaks.
No.
Because here's the thing. I don't approve of it in any way, shape, or form, but I understand what he was trying to basically say. It came off wrong, but he should have thought before he even uttered them words, but whatever. Robert Lee Williams III, we need term limits. We do actually have term limits. Here's the thing. Here's what we actually need. We need, especially as far as Congress and Senate go, because I think they get 6-year terms. We need, you can only be a senator or a congressman for 2 terms, just like a president. Because if you got 12 years, if you can't get shit done in 12 years, that means that you're just sitting there collecting checks.
Get the hell out of there.
Right. You're pointless.
Mitch McConnell.
Yeah, he's been around for too long. You know what I'm saying? It's like some of these people, and again, this might be ageist, but I don't care. Some of them are just too damn old to be senators.
Absolutely.
It's like you've been sitting there collecting corporate money for so long. Why in the hell would you even care about your constituents?
Yeah, we need more AOCs than less Mitch McConnells.
Right, and if
She's bad. I love her.
Well, she's awesome. Now here's the thing: youth is part of her blessing and curse, because there are times, because of her youthful exuberance, she will say things that don't make any sense. And there's nothing. And again, I get it. She's excited about trying to make change.
Right,
but she just needs to. It's the Biden thing again. Stop for a half second. And then
pause.
just think, pause, then say it. Because if you don't give anybody, if you give them basically perfect sound bites every single time that you can't pick apart, what do they got now? Well, then she looks funny. No, she doesn't. She's actually very attractive.
Very attractive.
So it's just like you don't have anything to attack her. No ways to attack her.
Right.
And she does an outstanding job of keeping it fairly tight. But there's some times when she'll
get
throw out numbers
that
are just like those numbers don't add up. Right. But I get where you're trying to go, where you're trying to come from.
Absolutely.
And I think, and Hanover Meg is 100% right. The Electoral College was never meant to be a rubber stamp. It was meant to stop exactly this type of demagoguery that we have right now. And I think, in all honesty, I think the Electoral College could probably just be done away with, because we've got plenty of ways to get the numbers right.
The Republicans will hate that.
They don't want it to go away because it is kind of.
They feel like they'd never win again.
They probably won't, because a lot of the constituents live in areas that are low population, and California, New York by itself could friggin'
it could swing an election without a doubt. But at the same time,
you need to work harder.
That is the people.
Yeah, you need to work harder.
Right. That's the people.
It is the popular.
You need to work harder.
I mean, because the thing is, not to cut you off real quick. I'm gonna say this real quick. If your policies, your ideas, and your whatever are good for everybody, hey, you should probably get the most votes if you can follow up on what you say. Say you're gonna do. Yeah, you might come from, like, for example, you might be somebody from Alaska. Sarah Palin aside, but it's like you might be somebody from Alaska with a ton of great ideas. If the entire country buys into what you're selling, hey, if you get more votes than the other guy, the other guy needed to present himself better.
Yeah,
if he couldn't present himself right, or he was saying a bunch of stuff that only catered to one little segment, hey,
I don't disagree with that. All right, cameras up. Let's get ready to wrap up the show. I know we got real serious here.
Hold on.
Feel like it was
I want to hear what Fallen had to say, because I cut him off.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead, man.
No. The only thing I wanted to say is that when it comes down to the people being able to vote, like, I think that's definitely one part of that. That's a section where, like, when it comes to voting, there should be an absolute democracy there, because that's kind of been the issue, especially, like, the thing is that we can all agree that once Clinton's term was up, that those next 2 elections were quite fishy. So, like, with George W.
Yeah.
Now it's like, come on, like, just whatever. And the thing is, again, now that, like, people are starting to educate themselves more with knowing how it works and stuff and all that, and it's like, okay, overall, when it comes to votes with Hillary and Trump, people did vote more for Hillary. but because of the electoral college and because of how districts work, blah blah blah, whatever,
She lost.
it went in Trump's paper,
Mhm.
Trump's favor. So it's like, well, if that's the case, then like that's not a really true democracy when it comes to our votes, then, because there's the gerrymandering and all that stuff. So it's
Well,
again,
even on top of that, real quick, 3 electors from that particular campaign threw their votes towards Colin Powell, who wasn't even running.
The hell?
That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. They got fined for it.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So like, it's a weird system. The electors literally can, even if, let's say for example, you and I ran, and you got like half of the electors and I got half of them or whatever. Even if that's the case, if 3 of them just happen to like you more than they like me, and even though like I won whatever states, that they can still throw their votes in your direction.
Jeez.
I'm like, that. What's the point then? It's literally like, okay, you put all the votes in, we got all the tallies, and these guys decide to go their own way. What's the point?
Yeah.
So it's dumb.
I really
it is dumb.
do hope it goes a different way this November.
Yeah,
So,
we can only hope and pray, but
Everybody vote.
everybody get out there and vote. All right, so that's the show, Culture Junkies Live, episode 216. We got a little bit real there, but I think it was very passionate. I think we dropped a lot of dimes. We talked about a lot of really, really great stuff, and we loved interacting with all of you out there in the chat. You guys said some really great stuff. So we want to thank everybody that was watching on Facebook or on YouTube or on Twitch. And even on Omelet, checking out the show. We're gonna be signing off now, but next week we're gonna come back and we're gonna talk a little bit of mobile gaming. We're gonna actually have a special guest with us next week as well to talk about mobile gaming. So it should be pretty cool. I'm looking forward to that because mobile gaming has actually really got good lately. It's really got good. So anyway, that was the show. I want to thank my co-hosts, GQ, the Great Atakuji, and Fallen Marvel for getting real with me, and all of you out there in the chat. We hope that you did enjoy the show, and we'll come back and check us out next week, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central, for the episode 217 of Culture Junkies Live. If we did enjoy the show, I know this is going on a long time, this little sign off that I'm doing, but I would be remiss if I didn't remind you all, if you did enjoy the show, please do consider becoming a patron of Culture Junkies. It's patreon.com/Culture Junkies. You'll find us there. We've got 3 different tiers for you to sign up for. Doesn't matter which one. Just throw in your support. We would definitely appreciate you. So that's the show, guys. Make sure you follow us on Twitter and Facebook, and to see what the next updates are going to be for Culture Junkies Live. I'm your host, Kenshiro. We'll see you guys next week. Peace
all
out,
right.
everybody.
Yeah, have a good
Bye-bye.
one. Good